morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you're joining us from. We are lucky enough to have our whole team together in Nairobi with us for this event. My name is Katie Bunten-Wamaru, and I'm co-CEO of the African Visionary Fund. I'm thrilled to welcome you all to our new Visionary Partner event. At the African Visionary Fund, our mission is to drive more funding to African visionaries to accelerate their impact. We connect innovative African founders with the resources they need to positively impact their communities. Our long-term goal is to change how the philanthropic community views and funds African leaders. Currently, locally led African organizations are not being funded commensurate with their incredible work to serve their communities. We know that there is no shortage of brilliant visionary organizations out there that have the power to have a transformative impact on their communities when given more access to capital. We're here today to unveil our third cohort of partners who are all proximate champions that uplift their communities with unique transformative development solutions. But before we reveal these exciting additions to our portfolio, I would like you all to hear from my incredible co-CEO, Atti Worku, about our approach to grant making and the progressive equity-centered changes we have made over the last year. Over to you, Atti.
Thank you, Katie. My name is Atti Worku, and I'm the co-CEO of the African Visionary Fund. An important part of my role is to oversee our grant making and portfolio services. It is work that can be incredibly painful with very difficult decisions that have to be made, but it's truly purposeful. At the African Visionary Fund, we take a multi-sectoral approach to funding African-founded and African-led organizations that aim to address complex challenges faced by their communities. We provide unrestricted multi-year funding to proximate organizations working in multiple sectors that are intertwined, including health, livelihoods, technology, and other emerging sectors. Based on the organization's mission, vision. We support change makers that can change systems and deliver deep, community-rooted change. We ensure that each round of our grants achieves gender parity, and as a result, at least half of our partners are women-led. We also make sure that there's a geographic and regional diversity in each cohort. In line with our commitment to trust-based philanthropy, we do not assess the merits of one model over another. One of the major barriers African-founded organizations face is access, a lack of access to funder networks, and a lack of visibility. In this grant-making cycle, we piloted our new and inclusive application system. Our goal was to design a process that was efficient, seamless, and less cumbersome for our potential partners. We also wanted to create an application system that is more open and inclusive, allowing us to reach a broader pipeline of organizations outside of our referral networks. We hoped to remove unintentional gatekeepers so that the application would circulate widely. And that happened. We had the application viewed over 5,000 times, and almost 800 organizations applied. And 40% of the applications came from organizations that found us online. We also hoped that our open application system would attract a broader field of change makers working in diverse subsectors. We are so proud and excited to welcome our new partners in countries and solutions we have not supported before. Yes, having an open application system meant that we worked a lot more, and it was a lot more work for our entire team. But we believe that's how it should be. Visionaries should not have to spend 40 to 200 hours per quarter filling out grant applications. Above all, our open application system has helped us better understand the landscape and the funding gap that persists between African-led and white-led organizations working on the continent. This knowledge will inform our future funding advocacy strategies, both of which are evolving as we learn more and more through doing our work. My colleague and grant-making partner, Aisha Onsando, will share more about the lessons we've learned during this process. Thank you, and I'll hand it over to my dynamic colleague, Aisha.
Thank you so much, Atti. We received 749 applications, and we were only able to make 10 grants. With your permission, I would like to spend some time today with the 739 incredible, innovative, important, and impactful organizations that we could not support. Organizations that deserve to be well-funded for their transformative work. That in itself has given us at the fund a moment for deep reflection. It is my pleasure to share some of the lessons that we have learned from our open application system with you today. Lesson number 1, the funding desert for African-led organizations is deeper and wider than we ever imagined. When you set up a water point in a desert, you're going to learn a lot more about the desert than you ever did before, because people are going to come to drink from corners that you've never seen or imagined before. As a sector-agnostic funder, the AVFund has the unique privilege to see and understand the African development funding desert holistically. We're not just seeing the climate corner or the health corner or the technology corner. We are seeing the volume of need in every direction on the entire ecosystem, even the quiet corners that we would assume are thriving or the invisible corners that we don't know exist. Our biggest takeaway is that most, if not all, African organizations go through seasons of severe underfunding. And the cause is the often shifting sectoral priorities of funders and the global philanthropic agenda. Today, technology-focused organizations may thrive. Tomorrow, climate resilience projects may thrive. All the while, the sustainability of organizations in other sectors is threatened and their progress is slowed by a lack of critical resources. This leads into lesson number 2. It's not that African organizations cannot grow. African organizations are not allowed to grow. A fundamental flaw in the funding ecosystem is that a lack of resources takes away the room for many organizations to validate their impact models at scale. African nonprofits' slower growth trajectory is not for the lack of interest. It's not for the lack of problems to solve. It's not for the lack of talented leaders, and it's not for a lack of capable fundraisers. So many organizations experience a vicious cycle where they have had large budgets and now operate on a contracted budget and are misjudged by funders as unscalable, incompetent, or inadequate in one way or another. In reality, these organizations are incredibly resilient and are doing incredible things with very little resources. They are grappling with being left behind and fighting against all odds to remain sustainable because they can't let their communities down. We have learned that we need to reconsider how we serve organizations that aren't on a traditional growth trajectory. Lastly, and closely connected to the second lesson, is lesson number 3. The funding community is overly obsessed with startup culture, and even we have fallen into this trap. One of our funding criteria was that organizations have to have been in existence for 3 or more years, with the assumption that early growth stage organizations need the catalytic funding that we provide the most. In reality, this was the easiest hurdle for most organizations to clear while applying for the grant, because many of the organizations that we saw had been in existence for 5, 10, and sometimes 15 years. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of organizations across Africa that are mature, seasoned, and experienced, yet are still stuck in a startup phase because their budget and organizational sizes are too slow to grow. As funders, we tend to fall into the trap of wanting to support early stage ideas. Perhaps it is because incubating the next big unicorn is exciting. Perhaps it is easier to design and build something new than it is to understand what has come before. For us at the fund, we want to reconsider how to make more space for mature organizations to feel valued and supported, and to bring in the lessons that they have learned through their existence to the network and to the fund. We want to create new grant-making solutions that are truly inclusive and that look at the field as what it is now rather than what we wish it was. One of the things that makes me most proud to work at the African Visionary Fund is our fearlessness at the idea of experimentation. We are not afraid to try new approaches, and the feedback we get from our partners drives us to do more, think bigger, and work harder to help change the systems that harm development in Africa. We are committed to constant improvement. After all, the alternative would be to sit back and accept the status quo. And for us, that's simply not an option. And now it gives me great pleasure to introduce two stars from within our network, Rebeca and Hastings.
Thank you, Aisha. My name is Rebeca Gyumi. I'm joining you from Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. I'm a feminist first. I lead Msichana Initiative, a non-governmental organization which works to advocate for girl child rights to education in Tanzania. Our vision is to contribute in creating a society where the rights of girls are safeguarded and girls can enjoy recognition, dignity, and excel to their fullest potential. We employ empowerment, advocacy, protection, and response approaches in our work. In 2015, together with 4 others, we founded Msichana Initiative as a platform where girls could learn about their rights and advocate against discriminatory policies and laws that we have in the country. The same year we were founded, we petitioned to challenge the Tanzania Law of Marriage Act, which allowed girls as young as 14 to get married. We won the case in 2016. And although the government successfully appealed in 2017, we won the case again in 2019. Fast forward to 2021, we were privileged to become African Visionary Partners as part of their second cohort. Getting the fund was extremely timely for us because at that stage, a lot of our activities and interventions were project-based. As an organization, we got very little support to strengthen our conviction as community mobilizers, find what really excites us, and what really serves our community best. The AVFund has really given us the space to do some self-interrogation about our capacity as an organization, what we needed to look at more deeply, but also what made us as an organization outstanding. Our experience with AVF has been enriching and very empowering. We feel seen as an organization. We feel like AVF sees our efforts, our commitments, our passion, and they just want to enable us to concentrate on doing the work. In fact, this week, our board of directors will be reviewing and hopefully approving the staff motivational policy that we were able to develop through the support of the AVF capacity grant, which is over and above the unrestricted gift they're giving us. I'm excited because I think these employee motivating policies will become best practice, especially in the ecosystem that we exist in. So, as you can see, the impact of AVF support is real and very tangible. We are so grateful as an organization to have AVF as a partner and to be part of this group of community change makers who are really eager to bring meaningful change to their communities. And this includes my fellow cohort visionary partner today, Hastings.
Thank you, Rebecca. I equally feel the same way. I find Africa Visionary Fund as a big platform that if partners, we fully utilize it, it can prepare us for significant growth. Hastings Nhlane, the co-founder and CEO of ACADES. We are an organization that is investing in smallholder farmers, especially youth farmers in Malawi. And our work focuses more on creating wealth and increasing income levels of rural communities through the provision of tools and resources needed for farmers to increase their agriculture productivity, increase their income levels, and sustain their livelihood. And for me, looking at our partnership with Africa Visionary Fund, I would say The grant itself is unrestricted, and for us, it has significantly helped us to innovate and be more creative and invest in the most critical elements of our work that most funders are not interested in, but these are the most important drivers of growth, impact, and sustainability. This funding is also helping us to plan ahead and think about the future instead of just focusing on the current problems. Because we are a community-based organization that started in the community, and we live in the community, and we are addressing problems as they come. So this requires continuous innovation and adaptation. Also for me, beyond the financial support, I have seen the first-hand result of building an equitable trust-based relationship with the fund. I personally believe that Africa Visionary Fund is a big platform that has connected us to so many stakeholders. We have received contacts. We have been contacted by multiple funders and organizations who have indicated that they got to know us from Africa Visionary Fund, either through the website, but also direct recommendations by the Africa Visionary Fund team. So I think AVFund is constantly connecting us to funders and organizations, even without our knowledge. But also last year, I attended the engagements that were happening around the UN General Assembly. And after the UN General Assembly, I decided to extend my stay in US with 5 more weeks. And during that time, I reached out to Katie and Atti, and they connected me to so many people, and I had very amazing conversations with funders and stakeholders in US, and I got connected to other networks. And these are the people that I would not have crossed paths with if it was not for that AVF connection. Yeah, so I would like to advise the incoming cohort and the new partners to leverage on this big platform. Let's make sure that we are making full use of the facilities that are there. Let's engage the dedicated team behind Africa Visionary Fund and use it to grow our network and grow our reach. Yeah, so yeah, I'm very excited to welcome you all, and yeah, looking forward. Thank you.
Yes, I absolutely agree with you, Hastings, that really the new cohort, our remarks to you will be, we hope that you see AVF support as more than just the financial support, you know, but also the access to a pool of brilliant minds, you know, in the partner portfolio that you can learn from and share resources with. And also, as you get this support today, as you're being announced, please take a moment to pat yourself on the back. This is really a testament that, brother, African sister, keep on doing what you are doing. You are making it happen. It's working. And there are people out there who are looking at you and they are inspired. We are inspired and we'll be here to support you. So, you know, this is really our welcome to you. Are you inspired, Hastings?
Yes, I'm also inspired, Rebecca. And maybe on behalf of the entire Africa Visionary Fund portfolio, I would like to welcome all new peers in the cohort. I hope we all enjoy this wonderful journey together. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Thank you so much, Rebecca and Hastings, for those kind words and advice for new partners. We are so grateful to be in partnership with you and to be on this journey with you. Before we announce our new partners, we want to acknowledge and thank the funding partners that have invested in the African Visionary Fund during this early and experimental phase. So far, we have raised $6.5 million to invest in African visionaries, and to date, we have committed $4.5 million in direct investments into their work. Of all the money we've raised thus far, 76% of it is multi-year and 83% is unrestricted. Overwhelmingly, our funding partners are funding us the way we fund our portfolio. And they trust that our conviction that they trust in our conviction that innovative funding structures can and will have a lasting impact on the field. Thank you to our funding partners for being both leaders and learners and for challenging the status quo with us. So we know we have kept you in suspense long enough. The new additions to our portfolio are 100% African-led, 50% women-led, and work across 5 countries and a multitude of sectors, including education, technology, health, livelihoods, human rights, and more. We have tapped into 2 new subsectors with a climate-focused and an LGBTQ rights organization added to our portfolio. 90% of our new partners serve young people, and 70% center gender equity in their work. We have expanded our geographic diversity by supporting partners that are making an impact in Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo for the first time. We are excited about these organizations and the work that they will be able to achieve with their AVFund grants. I invite you to watch the following video that spotlights our portfolio and the 10 new visionary partners joining our community.
Africa, ever multidimensional, complex, and resilient, faces as much opportunity as it does challenges. And proximate leaders are driving impact and systems change across the continent, undeterred by being underfunded and undersupported by global philanthropy. At the African Visionary Fund, we believe that sustainable organizations are built by empowering the knowledge that local leaders possess. We provide unburdensome resources to support the innovative solutions of community-rooted organizations working in interconnected development fields. In our first 2 grant-making cycles, we gave multi-year unrestricted funds to support 15 African-led organizations across 9 different countries. We pride ourselves on being open and inclusive, supporting diverse sectors, diverse approaches, diverse communities, all with deep impact. Now, in our 3rd grant-making cycle, we have focused on expanding our reach across the continent. Through our new open application system, we have uncovered a rich pipeline of innovative changemakers that are building ecosystems and accelerating change. Our 10 new visionary partners are catalyzing remarkable systemic shifts in African communities. To date, the fund has made a total commitment of $4.5 million to 25 portfolio partners, and our sector and geographic reach grows with each grant-making cycle. We are building a thriving community of visionary organizations that are achieving high impact and getting the support and recognition that they deserve. Join us in welcoming our new partners into the community and help us move millions more dollars to African innovators across the continent.
Without further ado, we would like to introduce you to our third cohort of African visionary partners. We will begin a round of introductions, starting with Ryan Walusimbi of Bless a Child Foundation.
Hi, everyone. How are you doing? My name is Brian Walusimbi from Uganda, Bless a Child Foundation. I'm actually a professional clown, so I came with my clown nose and wig as well. So just, mainly what we do, Bless a Child Foundation takes care of children suffering from cancer in Uganda. We provide accommodations, meals, psychosocial support, play therapy, and also classroom and school for families that are traveled far and wide looking for treatment for their children in Kampala and all over Uganda. Since we started opened up our first home in 2010, we have taken care of over 6,000 children and families that have walked through our doors. No family has to pay a single bill to stay with us, but they receive a lot of love and support on the toughest journey and the toughest battle of their lives. We are so honored to be a part of the African Visionary Fund, and we are looking forward to where it's going to go in the next 3 years. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ntakamaze Nziyonvira. I work for CIOTA, which stands for COBURWAS International Youth Organization to Transform Africa. We are currently working in Uganda, in western part, in Kyangwale Refugee Settlement. Our main focus is to provide access to quality education for children and youth who have been affected by armed conflicts, and those youth who are from underprivileged communities, meaning the host Ugandan communities who cannot be able to access education. So what we do, we have primary and now a secondary school. We identify those potential students who are not able to make it because of different factors, and then bring them into our schools. We have boarding section, and we also have the means of transport to bring those who are far. And we also make sure that we bring those who do not have parents, and more especially girls who have been affected. So we do bring them into primary school, support them to transition to secondary school. And we also provide the university support so that they can access university education. I am one of the beneficiaries. I went to the US for studies. Actually, after completion, my mom asked me why I was going back to a refugee camp where I had lived for 19 years. But I knew that this is a community that needs me. I came back to give back. And alongside with me, we have other beneficiaries who are also giving back to the community. So we have so far supported over 5,000 children to go through our primary education. And we have also supported 700 children to go through our secondary education. And 80 students have gone through the university scholarship program. I'm glad to be part of this cohort. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Ntakamaze. We'll go with Linda Malima from Chipembere Community Development Organization. Thank you.
I'm Linda Malima from Chipembere Community Development Organization in the southern region of Malawi. So we work in the whole area of Malawi, but currently we are based in the southern region where our office is. So our Chipembere Community Development Organization is a youth-led organization, and it's based on advancing health and education for everyone. That is for youth and also for children. So we do a lot of projects, mainly based on health and education. For instance, in 2017, we did a project on enhancing the economic empowerment of women right here in Southern region, whereby we have provided a lot of capital, for example, in poultry for women, so that they can establish businesses for themselves to have economic empowerment, so that they can also rely on themselves. Because in the southern region of Malawi, there are a lot of gender imbalance. So we are trying to bring gender balance and also economic empowerment for the women and the youth to ameliorate the suffering of people, whether in health and also in their economic lives. So we have also built a number of schools for primary schools, nursery schools, and also we are supporting some women who are doing farming, that is agriculture. So we are also trying to venture into other projects to extend what we have already been doing for the youth, that is.
Thank you so much. We will go now with Cyprine Omollo from Clean Start Solutions.
Thank you so much, Atti. It's such a privilege and honor to be here this evening. So my name is Cyprine Omollo from Clean Start Africa. We work with women, children, and girls impacted by the criminal justice system. And our main aim is to ensure that the women who have gone through the criminal justice system are able to successfully reintegrate back into the society and live as whole and confident women who have gone through this particular through the criminal justice system. And so far, we have impacted about 4,000 women, formerly imprisoned and imprisoned women. We have impacted 500 girls and 250 children who have gone through the criminal justice system and have been through our programs. I myself, I'm a formerly imprisoned woman. I was incarcerated at Langata Maximum Women's Prison, and it is such a privilege and honor to be part of the AVF family. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We will then go to Rahima Njaidi from MJUMITA.
Hello, thank you, Atti. My name is Rahima Njaidi, and I'm the director of the Community Forest Conservation Network. In short, we call them MJUMITA. And this network is a network of communities living adjacent to the natural forest, and they are participating in forest management. So we are operating in 13 regions across the country, but we have members in more than 450 villages. So MJUMITA, we work with communities, but we group them into CBOs, community-based organizations, so it could be easy to communicate with them. So we have 120 CBOs, and all across those 120 CBOs, we have more than 15,000 individual members across the country. And we are so proud that we have changed the system where women are now more engaged in forest management, but again, they also benefit in these resources. And so these communities, we enable them to build the capacity, and they are managing approximately 1.8 million hectares of forest across the country. And the good thing is that now they are starting to benefit in terms of economic-wise from the forest resources. We facilitate forest-based enterprises like beekeeping, butterfly farming, but also other types of activities like ecotourism as well. So MJUMITA is so happy to be part of the team, part of AVF, and we are glad that we have a very rich group of people we can communicate and exchange ideas. Thank you.
Thank you, Rahima. We will continue with Niniola Williams from DRASA Health Trust. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here at this event today. So I'll tell you a bit about DRASA. DRASA Health Trust is a nonprofit organization based in Nigeria, and our vision is to develop a network of health champions who are preventing disease and saving lives through education and training, community engagement, emergency planning, and policy change. And to date, we have been able to develop over 51,600 health champions in 32 of Nigeria's 36 states. But who are these people? Well, they range from students in under-resourced public schools to health and security officials at our borders and entry points, to health workers in hospitals, health facilities, and clinics around the country, to even community leaders and traditional leaders in neglected communities, as well as government officials, decision makers, and many others. And the goal that we have for these health champions is to take responsibility for their personal health, as well as the health of those around them, so that we can work together with them to actively participate in solving public health challenges and strengthening our health sector. DRASA, D-R-A-S-A, stands for Dr. Ameyo Stella Adadevo. She was my aunt. She was a doctor here in Nigeria who identified the first case of Ebola in 2014 during the West Africa outbreak. And she prevented the virus from spreading, but unfortunately, she died in the process of saving the rest of us. So for me, this is a very personal cause. And as an organization, we're fully committed to our mission of protecting public health and ensuring that Nigeria and our entire continent has a stronger, more prepared, and more resilient and responsive health system. So we're really happy to be part of this event today and truly honored to be part of the AVF family. So thank you all.
Thank you, Niniola. We'll now go to Paulina Lanco from Impact Africa Network.
Thank you very much, Atti. I think, first of all, I just want to say how humbled we are to be in the presence of such amazing and just impactful people in this room. Really, really greatly honored. Secondly, I'd just like to recognize that I'm here representing Impact Africa Network, but I do know I have some of my colleagues in the audience, so Marion, Baraza, and Mutete, who have really been the drivers of what I'm going to talk about. So Impact Africa is an innovation fellowship program for college graduates. And I currently serve as the chief of staff to the founder, Makaraki. Who we serve, Africa is booming, as we all know, with young talent, but lacking in support structures for enabling innovators, entrepreneurs with 21st century ready mindset and skills. As such, we at Impact Africa are very committed to bridging the gap between young Africans and innovative entrepreneurial opportunities. And what's our impact? Our founder, Makaraki, launched Impact Africa in 2019. To date, we have absorbed 120 plus into our program through our Innovation Fellowship program, and we're now in our 8th cohort. Why do we do what we do? Our mission is to ensure that our young, talented Africans can participate in the digital transformation of Africa as creators and owners. Our big, hairy, audacious goal is to awaken a sleeping giant, that is Africa, through what we call our 10-10 goal. That is to build 10 startups that provide 10,000 jobs and have a combined value of 10 billion as a portfolio. As I conclude, you may ask, why 10-10-10? Our founder, Makaraki, draws his inspiration from the founding father of Singapore, Lee Kuan Yew. As such, he sees this, that is Impact Africa Network, as an opportunity to develop leaders who will grow Africa. Leaders who will merge economically emancipated, highly networked and influential individuals who will in turn give back to our countries and our communities. Thank you again, AVF. We're very, very honored to be here, to be part of this very amazing team. And again, kudos to my team that's made this possible. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Paulina. We'll next go to Bahati Omar from Uwezo Youth Empowerment.
My name is Bahati Omar. I'm based in Kigali, Rwanda. I'm the founder and executive director of Uwezo Youth Empowerment. So Uwezo is a Swahili word to mean ability. Colleagues from East Africa, you know what ability means. So it's a name that we gave ourselves after realizing that most young people with disabilities in Rwanda left out of the mainstream development due to the fact that there's a lot of stigma around how much young people with disabilities can be able to engage, but also this has denied a number of them the opportunity to benefit from the basic rights. As Uwezo Youth Empowerment, we envision a society where young people with disabilities are empowered, fully engaged, and live with dignity. And currently, we are engaging in various activities, turning around, enabling access to quality and inclusive education. We do a lot around mentoring kids with disabilities to prosper in education, not just moving them to the next class, but with merit. And we also do a lot of home visits to ensure that children with disabilities are well protected, parents of children with disabilities are held account, but also be supported to raise their family members with disabilities. Uwezo Youth Empowerment, one of our flagship programs, has been enabling young graduates with disabilities to prosper into their career through facilitating professional internships. So as a result of this program, today we are celebrating over 100 new employees that have joined the Rwanda job market from our initiatives, and we have managed to impact directly over 5,000 children with disabilities through our different education and health programs. So we also think about, from the experience, we have noticed that girls with disabilities drop out of school due to the fact that they are not accessing water, sanitation, and hygiene at schools. And we have initiated an inclusive school-based and community-based WASH program for girls with disabilities. And through the process, we also educate parents, guardians of girls with disabilities to educate their family members with disabilities. And this goes with SRH, digital inclusion, economic development, and the like. So as Uwezo Youth Empowerment being here in this amazing portfolio, it means a lot. It means everything. So we never had the opportunity to be in such, to have such an opportunity, and emerging from a society where you are judged based on your physical capability, we couldn't believe that we can have the opportunity to be judged based on our vision and passion. And here we are in the AVFund portfolio, and we are very happy to bring our expertise to move the inclusion voice across, and also be able to even enable other partners who may not be here to speak the language AVF is speaking right now. Thank you so much, and congratulations to my colleagues as well.
Thank you, Bahati. We'll go to Mercy Kafotokoza from Wandikweza.
Thank you so much, everyone. My name is Mercy Kafotokoza. I'm the director and founder of Wandikweza. Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm the founder and executive director of Wandikweza. Wandikweza exists to provide healthcare closer to the people. We work in we work to remove barriers to healthcare for ultra-poor Malawians in very remote areas. We do this through community health workers who proactively search for patients through door-to-door home visits. And through the door-to-door home visits, 85% of under 5 children are assessed within 24 hours of onset of symptoms. We also conduct mobile clinics. We travel to hard-to-reach areas where we provide care. We also have nurses on bikes. The nurses on bikes provide antenatal and postnatal care at the doorstep, and they respond to emergencies within 30 minutes. We also have our dedicated health center. And at Wandikweza, we believe everyone should have access to sufficient high-quality holistic care when they need it. And in the past 3 years, we have never had any maternal death, and 95% of our deliveries are done at our health center. And also 8% of pregnant women are identified in the first trimester. We're excited to be here as part of Cohort 3, and thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mercy. And last but not least, we have Akudo Ogwangamba from Women's Health and Equal Rights Initiative.
Hello, everybody. My name is Akudo Ogwangamba. Are you able to hear me? Okay, yes. Thank you so much. I am the founder and executive director of Women's Health and Equal Rights Initiative, also known as WHER, W-H-E-R. Our mission and goal at WHER is to provide a platform for the promotion of the healthy well-being of lesbian, bisexual, and queer women in Nigeria, and the protection of their rights, their fundamental human rights through advocacy education, empowerment, provision of psychosocial supports, and research and documentation. Our organization, WARE, is a feminist organization, and we view ourselves as working at the intersection of women's rights and LGBTIQ rights in Nigeria and also globally. We recognize the multiple intersecting identities of the people within our community, and also with that lens in mind, we program to ensure inclusion of everybody. We have done quite a number of activities ranging from advocacy, empowerment, and also around advocacy and human rights. Not to take too much of your time, I am really excited to be part of the AVF family, and I am looking forward to responding to any questions you might have about our organization. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Akudo. Thank you, everyone, for introducing yourselves and for telling us about your incredible work. Now we have a question we would like to start with for all of you to help our audience understand a little bit more about how multi-year and unrestricted funding can support you. So the question is, how does multi-year unrestricted funding impact your work and your growth trajectory? And we'll take the same way. We start with Brian, and then we can go through everyone. Thank you.
It's been a tough journey, especially finding funding for childhood cancer in Uganda. Most funders have looked at childhood cancer as not a huge priority compared to all the huge needs that Africa is faced with. And to be chosen as members of the African Visionary Fund and to find a funder that is interested in our work is amazing. One of the things that we are looking forward to do in the next 3 years is we're on a journey of setting up the first pediatric palliative care center in Uganda, a place where the children that are beyond treatment can come and stay as they get support till the last days of their lives. It's a costly journey and a very expensive journey, and we are excited that we have gotten funds to get it started and on the way. Another way we are hoping to use the unrestricted funds is through empowering mothers, especially because there is life after cancer. Most mothers go back home to absolutely nothing, sometimes even carrying back home a dead child, and yet they've spent every single coin and penny they had. So a little bit of skill development and something where they can start afresh and get a new start after a long period of time being away from home makes a massive difference. And with these funds, we will be able to do what our hearts have been seeking and hoping to do. And we are so grateful to see where it's going to go. Thank you so much. Again, I cannot say thank you enough. We're excited to see what we're going to be able to do in the next 3 years. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Brian. Then next I'll go to Linda, if you don't mind answering that same question around how does multi-year unrestricted funding impact your work and growth trajectory? Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. And as Brian has said, the funding journey has not been easy. It's been an uphill task, even for Clean Start. And what this funding is going to do for Clean Start is that there has never been a safe house or a halfway house in Kenya for women who are coming out of prison. So one of the things that this funding will help us to do is to establish a safe space where women who are coming out of prison can get into as they start their journey post-incarceration. And we have realized as an organization that one of the greatest challenges that women face when they leave prison is the gap, because we have zero structures when it comes to reintegration in Kenya. And therefore that will be a good place, that will be such an amazing opportunity for us as an organization to establish this safe house where women can come and just rethink and start off their lives when they have gone through the criminal justice system. The other thing that this funding will do is one of our interventions, that is the Clean Start Leadership Program. We're going to be able to ensure that more women go through this program, not just in Kenya, but in Africa. Because we have come to realize that when the women who have gone through our programs, and we have seen when they go out into the community, they are able to successfully reintegrate back. But those who have not gone through the program, and they actually go back into prison. And so what this funding is going to do is to ensure that we reach more women and reduce the number of women who keep going in and out of prison because of the funding that AVF has given to us. The other thing that this funding will do, we will establish economic business hubs for our women who leave prison. There is nowhere, it is very difficult for a woman who has left prison in Kenya to get working opportunity, and it is very difficult also to start a business. And therefore, when we establish these economic hubs, those who have left prison can come in and gain some meaningful employment so that they don't go back to what took them back into prison once again. And therefore, the AVF family, we are truly again grateful for Clean Start being selected as part of cohort 3 of the AVF funding. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Ntakamaze, do you mind telling us as well how multi-year unrestricted funding impacts your work? Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. This means a lot to us. So in our refugee context, it is quite difficult to access funding. And if you look at the sector of education where we are working, it is not funded the way it should be. But as a local organization, we have been facing a lot of challenges. And one of them is to get multi-year funding. So that is why this means a lot to us. So we will be able to use this money to build the institutional growth of our team, focusing on the management team that is providing support to the teaching staff on the ground. We are currently scaling up. We have been having a primary school with 800 children, but we have also started a secondary school, which is the second in that refugee settlement that is serving over 11,000 youth who are supposed to be in school. So our number is going to increase. So we will need to use this money to support a team for the next 3 years that will also catalyze more funding opportunities to make sure that we provide the sustainability for our team and for our beneficiaries. So we will also do some capacity building for the other team members to make sure that we are more accountable to the donors and making sure that we share our impact with our stakeholders.
Thank you so much. Linda, coming back to you, if you can answer that same question as well around the impact of unrestricted multi-year funding on your growth trajectory and your work.
As Chipembere Community Development Organization, we already had a plan that was in our strategic plan for 2021 to 2025. So we had programs that we wanted to carry out, but we didn't have funding, unfortunately. So with the portfolio of the AVF, we are really glad because it will help us to accomplish our vision. So we wanted to help the youth and the women that we work with, because for the youth that we've been working with, we have helped them with advancing their studies. For example, by building schools and by supporting them with, for example, some advocacy or giving them some training so that they can pursue their studies. But we realized that as we were doing that, still more when the youth finished their studies, they were just living and without having any work or a business. So we made a plan that we should invest in the youth by establishing businesses for them, because that's what the youth asked after we have done some evaluations. And also we want to increase our impact for the, apart from the areas that we've been working in, we want to increase our impact by venturing into other areas so that we can reach to more women than we have already reached to. And also, we want to reach out to more people, for example, in mental health, to increase our health impact, because over the COVID-19, a lot of people have been devastated with the COVID-19 pandemic. So a lot of people have committed suicide. So we want also to explore more in mental health so that we can ensure that we ameliorate the suffering of people and have a developed nation with good leaders. Because if we cannot help our leaders, for instance, the youth and the young women, because they face a lot of challenges in their homes since they lack financial support. And also they face a lot of gender-based violence. That's why we are venturing into economic empowerment for the youth and the women so that they can overcome the gender-based violence cases that they have been facing. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Rahima, if you want to also give us a brief answer for this in the interest of time so that we can get to everybody on the cohort. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Atti. I'll be very brief so that others can also contribute. Yes, this is like a dream come true to MJUMITA, because we've been struggling a lot, and most of our projects most of our activities are project-based. So receiving this AVF funding, it's really going to make us move forward. And our aim was to see more women included in the forest sector. So that they can participate in the forest management, they can participate in decision-making, and also empower them economically. So here we mean that see how women can participate in the whole forest value chain, because we have women in beekeeping, we have women in mushroom farming and butterfly farming, but now we have to make it more of a business type so that they can really be able to get some good revenue out of it. So with this funding, it's going to be able to make us be more creative on how to reach the communities, especially the women, the youth, and the marginalized group, because we know that these are the groups that are really left out in terms of forest revenue benefit sharing mechanisms. So I'm happy that AVF came on board, and I'm so excited to see how these 3 years is going to help MJUMITA to reach more women and youth. But also try to see with this funding, it's going to be to make MJUMITA more visible in terms of maybe there's going to be some more opportunities out there that can be able to reach to MJUMITA so that we can reach more communities. As I said earlier, MJUMITA is a national network, but we're only operating in 13 regions. So we have almost like 13 more regions which are not reached by MJUMITA. So with this funding, it's going to help us to go to other areas where we're not yet operating. So thank you so much for choosing MJUMITA, and thank you for the whole team. I'm sure you're going to work together in this.
Thank you so much, Rahima. Niniola, I'm handing it over to you.
Thanks, Atti. So I think just like everyone has said, this funding is a real blessing for us as an organization. With this funding, we're positioned to do 3 things, really. Number 1 is improving access to our programs, increasing our reach, and investing in more people. These health champions that I was speaking about earlier, our goal now is to reach an additional 150,000 of them over the next 3 years across the 6 geopolitical zones of Nigeria, so that we can build on this collective approach that we have to keeping everyone healthy and safe. Number 2 is expanding our geographic reach. We feel that we have developed and refined models that are proving to be successful here in Nigeria, and we now seek to scale these models beyond our borders. So we feel that we can bring value and partner with others in different countries across the continent who have the local context, so that we can make more impact beyond the borders of the country that we are currently operating in. And then number 3, as several of my fellow cohort members have said, really, we're going to be able to use this funding to grow our team. We have some significant gaps in our core team structure. We have some job roles that we need to fill, especially now that a lot of people have been leaving the country and moving to the West. And so this unrestricted funding will also help us to build our internal capacity to the point where we can be sure that we can achieve our goals over the next 3 years. So we're very excited and we're very grateful. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Paulina, I'll hand it to you.
Thank you, Atti. I'm just listening to everybody and thinking that every program and project here could probably benefit from some of our innovation fellows. Because so far we've actually, from the lot that we've actually graduated, while we've employed almost 50% of the 100+ fellows, you know, they actually have developed applications in financial sector, in the hospitality sector, you know, and we're going into the health sector and financial services. And I suspect that you could all greatly benefit. But the multi-year unrestricted funding for us really will help to bring in more talented college graduates into our innovation fellowship program. And it is for us to invest further also in our learning and development program. One thing I will say, and there's not a lot of time to go into it, we've gamified, you know, how we go about learning and development. We have a very exciting program internally, which hopefully one of these days we can share with you. And our hope is to deepen our capabilities through the funding from AVF and to drive the mindset shift and functional skill gained through the fellowship. Over the next 3 years, it will help us, that is the funding, to absorb 6 cohorts and reach 100. As I said earlier, we're already on our 8th cohort. We're based here in Nairobi. We're looking to go regional. And it's our hope that funding such as this can actually help us expand our reach, have 6 more cohorts by the 3rd year, and reach more than 100 more innovation fellows to work on at least 6 more innovation projects in line with our 10-10-10 goal for 2030. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Paulina. I'll go to Bahati next.
Yes, thank you very much. So to us as Uwezo Youth Empowerment, having the opportunity to benefit from the multi-year unrestricted grant is giving us an opportunity to really be ourselves, implement our vision, but also most importantly, serve the community with passion. So we are building this from experience. We had the opportunity to have partners on board to have given us restricted grants, but then when we lean back with my colleagues and do self-evaluation, how much are we doing for young people with disability in terms of education, realize that we are not really doing what they need. And a lot of the interventions that we have embarked on with restricted grants, most of it is around advocacy. But then we ask ourselves, how long is it going to take for the advocacy result to yield? So, and the same applies to this kind of services that we deliver. So today, it doesn't require a lot of research to take children with disability to school. And the experience we have, again, from engaging with partners in education sector, there's very limited scholarships for young people with disabilities. The reason being, the impact is going to take long. So with this grant specifically, we are revising our strategic plan moving forward and really building it in a way that it responds to the needs of our participants. And these are young people with disabilities and the families. And we are currently establishing programs around implementing education scholarship program for children with disabilities, which may work in lines with other existing programs, but here specifically making it really holistic. It may not make much sense building a school, resourcing the school, train teachers, but then in the morning, children with disabilities don't come because they don't have assistive devices. You know, they are hungry, families are really poor, or there are conflicts related to disability and the like. And you also want to establish an SRH information center and mental health for persons with disabilities. And the reason being, not only our beneficiaries, but even ourselves, we are greatly affected by a lot of mental health issues, and a lot of it resulting from not really being in position to solve the problems that we see, because to some extent, our capacities and our hands are tied together we may not really move forward. And also the economic development for young people with disabilities and resuming our internship program, which has been on hold for almost 4 years due to lack of grants. And also the other thing that we are going to investing this grant in is independent living. Today, young people with disabilities in Rwanda depend so much on the help, the charity, and this has denied them to be themselves, to even try out any skill, any opportunity, because they always wait for any support to come. So, and of course, duty of care for our employees, our staff, our members, building the governance, building a system, and most importantly, connecting to like-minded partners across the world who would really love to join hands together with us to realize a society where no one is left behind, but also no one is judged because of their physical or mental impairment. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Bahati. Mercy, and then we'll go to Akudo after.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone. The grant is going to help us scale our maternal and child health services through the nurses on bikes. Probably we are the only organization that provides maternal and health services at the doorstep using nurses on bikes. So we are going to scale into another district, and it's also going to help us provide our services with speed, quality, and increase our coverage as we provide healthcare closer to the people, to ultra-poor Malawians in remote areas. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Akudo.
Thank you so much for giving me the floor to speak. We all know that lesbian, bisexual, and queer women issues are still underrepresented, and also in Nigeria and globally. Also, our issues continue to remain at the periphery of development issues. So it's the unrestricted multi-year funding will enable us to continue to provide the services that we provide for lesbian, bisexual, and queer women in Nigeria. And these are program centers around advocacy, empowerment, and research and documentation. And we all know also that advocacy takes a long time to come to fruition. And in doing so, organizations need to live long enough to be able to achieve their advocacy goals. And so this funding will enable us to stay afloat, to hire the required, hands, and be able to, sort out and pay for, our office spaces, and, pay for the hands that we need to achieve all our aims. And, just like I mentioned earlier, that we also have empowerment programs. Empowerment programs ranges from, we have a program, beautiful program we designed around pathways to empowering the LBQ women in Nigeria. This funding is going to allow us to continue to, beef up the project so that we will be able to reach more LBQ women in Nigeria. We also have like a very strong paralegal desk. This paralegal desk provides both human rights education to LBQ women and also reaching out to our brothers in the community. And it also enables us to, hire lawyers and also to bail people when they are arrested. And also like support people due to the hostility against LGBT people in Nigeria. This funding will really enable us to carry out a variety of activities that we are the ones that we're already implementing, and the initiative that we have cooked up, and we're ready to support our community, with those activities. The dangers of being the last speaker is that you're rushing yourself. But however, it is important that we note that this is a rare opportunity for all of us in this cohort, to continue to grow and sustain our organizations to reach our our set goals and objectives. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Akudo. And thank you all so much for such insightful and inspiring responses. We were so excited to walk this journey with you, to learn from you as much as we hope you'll feel supported and understood by us. We've come to the end of our program today. Time flies by when you're having fun. And we also want to say thank you to everyone who's been patient as we went a little bit over time. The work to shift philanthropy to recognize and resource African visionaries is only just beginning. And we hope that the funders in this room today are also as inspired as we are, so that we can continue to shift the power in philanthropy. Now, before we end, I will pass it back to my co-CEO, Katie, to close us out for the day. Thank you.
Thanks, Atti, and thank you to our new visionary partners for introducing us to your remarkable work. We're so excited to partner with you. And thank you to everyone that stayed on late to hear their amazing insights. We hope that everyone in the audience leaves this event knowing for sure that there is no shortage of high-impact African organizations, and there is a huge opportunity for community-driven, sustainable, just impact if more of us shift resources differently. The African Visionary Fund is made possible with the support of the public, so please do follow our journey by subscribing to our newsletter, following us on our social media pages to stay updated on exciting new developments as we continue to grow. Have a great rest of your day, and thank you so much for joining us.